SRMPR குளோபல் ரயில்வேஸின் மகான்களின் மகா தரிசன சுற்றுலா. முன்பதிவுக்கு அழையுங்கள் 8008800800.
Hello and welcome to another edition of News Showcase. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Media reports say at least 5 people have died in Delhi this week due to a severe heatwave, as the country saw some of the hottest nights in 6 years. This summer, millions of people in Asia are suffering from intense heat, a pattern that scientists believe is being made worse by human-caused climate change. The deaths occurred from Monday in the city with a population of 20 million people. In Delhi and the neighboring desert state of Rajasthan, temperatures have surged above 50 degrees Celsius since March. In northwest and eastern India, this season has seen more than twice as many heatwave days as usual. Less thunderstorms and warm winds coming into India from nearby desert regions were the causes of the weather. According to diplomats, over 500 pilgrims died due to scorching heat during the Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia this year. 2 Arab ambassadors coordinating their countries' responses said at least 323 Egyptians lost their lives, most of them from heat-related ailments. The ambassadors reported that at least 60 Jordanians also died, surpassing the earlier figure of 40. An unofficial count puts the number of deaths recorded by various countries at 577. The Saudi National Meteorological Center reported that on Monday, temperatures in the Grand Mosque in Mecca reached 51.8 degrees Celsius. Many Hajj rituals require spending long periods of time outside during the day, like the prayers on Mount Arafat that were performed on Saturday. According to reports, last year at least 240 pilgrims, mostly from Indonesia, died due to heat stress. A group of powerful US congressmen met with the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, on Wednesday at his abode in India. The visit comes despite China's advice to avoid contact with the Buddhist monk it labels a separatist. The 7-member bipartisan committee reported that they had met the 88-year-old Nobel Peace Prize winner at his monastery in the town of Dharamsala. Democratic former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is on the team, which is led by Republican lawmaker from Texas Michael McCaul, who also serves as the chair of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs. Following his failed revolt against Chinese control in Tibet in 1959, the Dalai Lama fled to India, and any contact with him by foreign representatives draws strong criticism from China. Ahead of her meeting with the Dalai Lama, former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she had no words to describe her thrill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, for your leadership. Mr. McGovern has been our spiritual leader when it comes to Tibet. We went to Tibet together. We saw where His Holiness slept, where he was, in the palace and the rest, and we conveyed our respect for him there with the idea that one day he may someday return, and that is what we would hope.
Heavy showers in the northeastern state of Assam have caused serious disruptions and casualties across 15 districts. Reports said massive flooding triggered by the rainfall killed 26 people and affected more than 1 lakh residents in the state so far. In the southern Karimgang district, which is among the worst hit, more than 41,000 children were affected. The streets in the district's main town remain underwater, and key routes have been cut off by floodwaters, trapping people inside homes and offices. The State Disaster Management Authority, which is leading rescue operations, said 1 person reportedly drowned as water levels surged. Driving rains also caused flooding in Sikkim, another state in the eastern corner of India, which has faced bad weather in recent weeks. 2 insurgents were shot dead by government forces in Jammu and Kashmir during a security operation. Reports said the gunfight took place in Baramulla district and the bodies of the gunmen have been found. A top police officer said their identity has not been established yet. Troops engaged the insurgents in Hadipora village during a search operation. The battle comes a day before Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits the federal territory for the first time since being re-elected. Modi ordered the highest levels of security in the region after back-to-back strikes by insurgents in recent weeks. The Prime Minister is scheduled to take part in the International Yoga Day events in the regional capital Srinagar on Friday. India announced a remembrance event to mark the 39th anniversary of the bombing of an Air India plane in which more than 300 people died. The plane, Kanishka, went down near the Irish coast on the 23rd of June in 1985 after it started its journey from Canada to India. Canadian investigators said the bombing was the work of Sikh separatists. The Indian Consulate General in Vancouver said the event will take place at the memorial to the victims at Stanley Park's Kepperly Playground area. The event comes after the Canadian Parliament on Tuesday observed silence for a Sikh separatist who was shot dead a year ago by gunmen in British Columbia. Hardeep Singh Nijjar is designated as a terrorist by India for his role with Sikh separatists who want a separate state for the Sikhs of India. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in North Korea to the delight of exuberant spectators and sumptuous ceremonies. In the capital Pyongyang, he had a rare summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un with the goal of forming a cooperation to fight pressure and sanctions from the United States. Russian media published footage of a sizable gathering of residents in the square by the Taedong River, which flows through the city, along with an honor guard consisting of mounted soldiers. Children clutching balloons and enormous images of the two leaders adorned the Grand People's Study Hall, each with a national flag. According to Russian media, Kim and Putin then rode to the Komsusan Palace for summit negotiations. Putin stated that Moscow is opposing the US and its allies' hegemonic imperialist policies. Netherlands media reports Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, a steadfast supporter of Kiev and a vocal opponent of Russian President Vladimir Putin, will replace Jens Stoltenberg as head of NATO. It said Hungary and Slovakia backed the move, but Stoltenberg did not confirm or deny the report. The next Secretary General of NATO will have to balance against any escalation that would push the military alliance into direct conflict with Moscow, while maintaining allies' support for Ukraine's resistance to Russia's invasion. Rutte has been one of the main proponents of Europe's military assistance to Ukraine in the 2 years since Russia began its full-scale invasion, emphasizing repeatedly the imperative necessity of a Russian battlefield loss in order to ensure peace in Europe. Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz cautioned on Tuesday that a decision regarding an all-out conflict with Hezbollah was imminent. Following an upsurge in cross-border gunfire along Lebanon's southern border, which led to Hezbollah making threats to assault Haifa, Israel's third-largest city, the U.S. has dispatched Ambassador Amos Hochstein to Lebanon in an attempt to defuse tensions. Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran, has been exchanging gunfire with Israel for the past 8 months in tandem with the Gaza conflict. After an Israeli attack killed the group's most senior commander, the group launched the biggest rocket and drone barrages at Israeli military targets. The Israeli military stated that operational plans for an offensive in Lebanon were approved and validated, and decisions were taken on the continuation of increasing the readiness of troops in the field. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa is taking the oath of office for a second term, despite his African National Congress failing to secure a majority in parliament in the election. The swearing-in event features musical and artistic performances, a 21-gun salute, military flybys, and a march past by the nation's defense forces. Several dignitaries, including many heads of state from Africa, are taking part in the event. The MK party of former President Jacob Zuma said its officials will not take part in what it called farcical inauguration. Ramaphosa will head a coalition government, which is backed by the ANC's longtime rival, the Democratic Alliance, and smaller parties. He took office for the first time in 2018 after Zuma was forced to quit over corruption allegations. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations reports that it believes the cargo ship Tutor, struck by missiles in the Red Sea, has sunk. Earlier reports from the agency said rebels in Yemen used missiles and a remote-controlled boat carrying explosives to target the ship last week. One crew member is still missing. They were reportedly in the Tutor's engine room when the strikes occurred. Since November, the rebels who support Iran have been launching attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea region, claiming that they are doing so in support of the Palestinian people in Gaza. The rebels sank the Ruby Mar, a ship owned by the United Kingdom, first. Approximately 2 weeks after being hit by missiles, it crashed in early March. Chipmaker Nvidia's share price reached an all-time high on Tuesday, making it the most valuable company in the world. Its current value is $3.34 trillion USD, having nearly doubled in value from the year's beginning. With a 3.5% gain, the stock closed the trading day at about $136, making it more valuable than IT giant Microsoft. Earlier last month, it also surpassed tech company Apple. 8 years ago, the stock was only worth 1% of what it is now. The supremacy of the Californian business in the field of artificial intelligence chips, dubbed the new gold or oil in the tech sector, has contributed to its explosive growth. Some analysts doubt, considering the growing competition Nvidia faces, there will be significant future advances. Thank you for watching. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Do tune in, same time tomorrow, for a roundup of the latest news and updates in India and around the world.